If you're trying to sell life insurance over the phone, especially final expense insurance, I already know one of the biggest objections you get is I don't have my payment information with me. Now, you've already identified early on that your customer has an active checking or savings account, but lo and behold, you get to the end of your presentation and, oh, I don't have it with me, I'm gonna have to call you back later. How do you overcome that? Well, I'll tell you how I overcome it and how I train my team to overcome it. The first thing I do is call them on their bluff. Now, ideally, we only want to accept active checking or savings account with a routing and account number. Not only is that just the best form of business, but it typically stays on the books longer and has a much higher persistency score, which means that payment will typically last longer than 12 months. So how do you call them out on their bluff? Well, you say, oh, that's not a problem. Go ahead and take out whatever form of payment you do have on you right now, which will most likely be their debit card for their checking account, so we can at least submit that application. Now, we don't want to take debit cards, so I'm not teaching you how to take debit cards when the person doesn't have their banking information on them. This is a way to make sure that it is only a banking objection and there isn't something else behind it. So if they say, oh, okay, perfect, and they take out that debit card and they give you that information, you go ahead and complete your tele app. But what I do is I don't sign the DocuSign. With Lincoln Heritage, we get a DocuSign at the end of our tele app, we sign it, it gets submitted to new business. What I tell my customers is perfect. This at least means that your application was approved, but it's not yet been submitted. So what time will you be home? So I can go ahead and update this application with the routing and account number, and then I just call tele app back, redo the payment authorization section only, have them resend the DocuSign to me, I sign it and submit it, and boom, it's complete. Now, more often than not, what you'll end up finding is that it isn't a banking issue at all. And you'll know that because logically, people don't leave the house without any form of payment, right? They have a wallet, they have their card, they have something on them. They may just not have their checkbook, they may not have online banking, they may not have their routing and account number, which probably is legitimate. So if calling them out on their bluff doesn't work, and then they give you another excuse why they don't want to give you their card information, then you have to reverse engineer and figure out why. And that is essentially revisiting all the reasons that they were on the phone with you in the first place and why they want it. So, hey, that's not a problem. I totally understand. I just want to make sure, that we're still on the same page here. What was it again that prompted you to inquire? Why is it that you want this? Why do you think this would be important for your family to have? And kind of walk them through all of the reasons why you got to this point in the first place, to just kind of remind them and check in with them, make sure there isn't any other objection. So another way you can do that is, so let's suppose we were able to resolve this payment issue, which I know it's not resolved right now, but let's pretend it was. Is there any other issues that you might need to make sure gets resolved before moving forward with submitting an application? And that's not confrontational. That's just me walking them through what the appropriate next steps might have to be in order to help them get through those, overcome their objections, help them get out of their own way, and get them to submit that application. So let's say that you asked them that question and they said, actually, you know what, I think I do want to talk to my kids about this first. Now you have something tangible you can work with. And again, you would say, oh, I understand, that's not a problem. I mean, tell me, how do you think your kids feel about you putting this policy in place to protect them from coming out of pocket and easing that burden for paying for your funeral costs when something does happen to you and you do pass? How do you think they would feel? You let them respond. Most likely they'll say, well, I think they would want me to have something, but I'm just not sure. Okay, well, I mean, what will you do though if you do go to your kids and they tell you that they don't want you to spend your limited income through Social Security on buying a policy, that they'll just take care of it for you? I mean, what will you do then? More than likely what you'll find out is they'll say, well, I'm probably just going to do it anyway. That's exactly what you want to hear. If they say, well, I'm just going to do it anyway, then you might want to say, okay, well, can I maybe offer a suggestion then? It seems to me that even if you go to your kids and they oppose the idea of you getting a policy, it seems like you still might not want them to have to bear that burden and take that risk and hope and pray that it all works out when you do pass away. Did I get that right? Yes, I got that right. Okay, perfect. Well, my recommendation then would be to move forward with the application with whatever policy size you feel comfortable with today, even if it's the smallest one. That way we can at least make sure you're approved, so you have something tangible to actually discuss with your kids when you do sit down with them. I'll be able to email everything out to you. You'll have something to look at and share with them when you sit down with them. And if you guys decide as a family that you want even more coverage than what we applied for today, we can always go ahead and resubmit and make those changes. Does that seem like maybe more of an appropriate solution? Yes, it does. Okay, perfect. So go ahead and take out that method of payment that you do have right now, so we can submit that with the application, and then we'll just update that to the routing and the account number tonight when you get home. All right, hope that helps. I hope you implement it. Don't get scared when you get objections. There's always a solution to overcome it.